أهلا بكم في قناتي IELTS Academy 9. أنا يسر ومعاكم في بودكاست جديدة على قناتي يوم الجمعة، واللي هبدأ فيها أحل speaking tests اختبارات تحدث، وفي آخر كل اختبار هقف على معاني الكلمات والمصطلحات اللي استخدمتها في إجاباتي. ده غير إن هرفع PDF بالفوكاب والإيديومز على قناة التليجرام اللي هتلاقوا اللينك تحت في الديسكريبشن بوكس. البودكاست هدفها أوريكم إزاي بنتسأل وإزاي بنجاوب، ده غير إني هشرح طبعا كل الكلمات والمصطلحات في آخر البودكاست علشان تطور الحصيلة عندكم. دلوقتي هبدأ أول تيست. Speaking Test 1 Part 1. Can you give me your full name? My name is Yusr Yasser and you can call me Yusr. Do you study or work? I work for a well-known educational institution in my country where I teach English to fresh grads along with a professional team of trainers. What do you like and dislike about your job? Frankly speaking, I'm passionate about teaching. That's to say, I love the idea of explaining matters to others and help them comprehend what they think is difficult. Another thing is the payment. I'm paid per hour in addition to a base salary, which is enough to make a living. And although I'm an eager beaver, I sometimes struggle with a backache and sore muscles due to working for long hours teaching online classes. Why did you choose your job? Actually, after my graduation, I was sitting on the fence. I mean that I wasn't sure either to go for translation or teaching. I tried taking translation as a fixed job, but it didn't pay off. Thus, I decided to give it a go and shift my career to teaching, and luckily, I liked it. Do you live in a small or a big family? I live in a nuclear family with my mom and 2 siblings, as my father kicked the bucket. My mom is a retired teacher and she's loving and caring. My elder sister is a university professor and she's the family breadwinner, whereas my younger brother is still in college studying computer science. As a family, we have a strong bond, especially after losing our father. We have become close and supportive. What sort of things do you like to do together? Many things. We get together on the weekend to have dinner and watch a movie. We also spend some quiet time chit-chatting and playing some card games. I believe sharing these moments will be the memories that we make for the future. Do you like trees and plants? And who doesn't? I believe it's healthy and cozy to be surrounded by greenery, as in addition to providing oxygen, they give positive vibes. Have you ever grown a plant? I always grow plants in my balcony. I'm in love with aromatic plants such as mint, basil, coriander, and jasmine. That's why I plant them at home, and as I told you, they give me positive vibes. Did you grow plants when you were young? As far as I remember, we did it at school. I mean that during the science classes, our teacher taught us how to plant the seeds of some plants and let them grow in the sunlight. This gave me some knowledge about how to plant later on. Have you ever received a plant or a flower as a gift? Yes, I remember on my wedding day, one of my close friends who has green fingers gave me a bunch of red and white roses which she grew at her home to give to me on the day. To be honest, I was delighted to receive such a sweet gift which was so special. Part 2. Describe a time you used your cell phone or smartphone to do something important. You should say what happened, when it happened, how important the cell phone or the smartphone was, and explain how you felt about the experience. To tell you the truth, cell phones are indispensable, and I've never thought that I would depend on my cell phone in almost everything. One day I went through a tough situation that I handled it all on the cell phone. First of all, let me tell you something. I used to transfer and receive money via my bank account, and I do this either by going to the bank, which is a hassle of course as it's always busy and it takes me hours to do any transaction, or by the bank's website. Around 6 months ago, my brother wanted me to transfer a sum of money and it was an emergency. I tried to do it through the website, but it was down for hours. Therefore, I had to call the bank customer service, but unfortunately, the agent described to me very complicated steps to log in the website, but they were all in vain. I was stuck for some time when I thought, why not to Google it and try to find an alternative? I surfed the internet via my cell phone and came across an article which was about a recent app called InstaPay. This app seemed to be reliable as it was created by the central bank. So I installed it on my cell phone from the Play Store and followed all the steps, and guess what? I could transfer the money in less than 10 minutes, which really made my day. Even though the situation was tough, I realized how important a cell phone is. I mean that I used it for calling the customer service, Googling some information, and finally installing a new app. Seriously, without my cell phone on that day, I would be lost and disappointed. Part 3. What are the differences between young people and old people when using a cell phone? There is a huge difference between the elderly and the youngsters when it comes to using a cell phone. To illustrate, the elderly are traditional and they can cope up with the new specifications, thus they use it for either calling, texting, or chatting. On the contrary, the youngsters use the cell phone for different purposes ranging from entertainment to academic studies and work. They are truly obsessed with all the up-to-date apps. Which one is more important, using a cell phone to make phone calls or to read messages? I think it depends on everyone's preference. In other words, some people prefer to make phone calls as they believe texting might cause some confusion or misunderstanding. On the other hand, there are others who don't have time to make or receive phone calls. They also prefer not to feel committed to respond on the spur of the moment. Consequently, they find receiving messages is more convenient. Do you think there should be a law to stop people from making phone calls in public? I believe this is too harsh, since banning the use of cell phones in public can lead to some disastrous consequences. I mean that there are always emergencies that require the use of phones in public. I think the best alternative is to encourage people to control their use and raise the awareness of how distracting a cell phone can be. When people gain the knowledge about the proper use of cell phones, they will watch it themselves without enforcing rules. And this is the end of Test 1. Speaking Test 1 Vocabulary and Idioms. الكلمات والمصطلحات المستخدمة في Test 1. Well known مشهور. Institution مؤسسة. Frankly speaking بصراحة. Passionate about شغوف بي. Eager beaver idiom معناه متحمس للعمل. Sitting on the fence idiom معناه حيران. Payoff يؤتي ثماره. Nuclear family عائلة صغيرة. Kick the bucket idiom معناه توفي. Chit chat نتحدث. Vibes أجواء. Have green fingers idiom معناه يحب الزراعة. Indispensable لا غنى عنه. Via خلال. Hassle إزعاج. Alternative بديل. Traditional تقليدي. Specifications خصائص. Youngsters الصغار. Obsessed with مهووس بي. Up to date حديث. Preference تفضيل. Confusion ارتباك. Committed to ملتزم بي. Convenient مناسب. Consequences عواقب. Disastrous كارثي. Distracting مشتت. Enforcing rules فرض قوانين. وبكده أكون انتهيت من بودكاست Speaking Test 1. أتمنى إنها كانت مفيدة وكانت واضحة. لو ليكوا أي تعليق أو سؤال ياريت تسيبوهولي تحت البودكاست، وياريت تشاركوها مع أي حد بيذاكر السبيكينج أو بيحضر لاختبار الآيلتس، وبالتوفيق للجميع.